social media is hard. And yeah, sometimes you just have to get away from it and regroup and just see what's going on in order to be able to go forwards with it. Welcome to Cosplayland. I am Alice and I have been a cosplayer for over 15 years now. And trust me, I've had my fair share of social media experiences. I think at this point I have tried most of the platforms and I definitely go jumping from platform to platform. Maybe it would be a good idea to just talk about my journey through social media and through all the different social media platforms that I have used and I continue to use as a cosplayer, and how I make it to survive it, because it's not as easy as it looks. I can see a bird over there. That's nice. If you feel like you are missing out because you forgot to post, or you didn't have time to post, or your post didn't do well enough, well, it's not true. At the end of the day, the one enjoying cosplay should be you, so don't let others put you down. I have myself been taking a break after all of the things going on in the world. It's really not a fun time to be on social media, but I know at some point I should be going back. So before I jump into social media and the social media that I use for cosplay these days, let me tell you about how it all started, because like everybody else, when I started cosplay, I just did it for myself, so I didn't feel the need of sharing all my cosplays to the world, or rather I did share them, but I did share them in my personal accounts. Don't fly. I am old, but I'm not that old, and yes, I did have digital cameras and I have photos of most of the cosplays, if not all the cosplays that I have ever made, and my first one ever was Tifa Lockhart. At the time, I didn't have any branding, nor I was called anything. I was just Alice, and I only share this to my personal account on Facebook. That is probably one of the first ever accounts I ever owned regarding to social media. But the times were different. At the time, you would only share this with your friends and family, people who you knew in real life, and you never felt the need of sharing this to the bigger audience. The first time I decided I wanted to share my cosplays with the world, it wasn't so much that I wanted to share my cosplays, I just wanted to show my process and how I had made my cosplays, and I wanted to share some tutorials because it was very difficult at the time to find tutorials, and I thought I could help other people who were in a similar situation and wanted to make a cosplay like mine get through all the troubles to actually get them working. That is when I first opened my first blogger, which was kind of like a webpage in which you could just share your tutorials and your blogs and your thoughts. And that was about 2012, only 2 or 3 years after I started cosplaying. If you are old like me, you will remember just going through Google and just trying to find posts from other people sharing their tutorials, because at the time it was almost the only way of finding information on how to make cosplays, and it was thanks to these people that were writing tutorials and how-tos that I was able to make most of the cosplays at the time. Of course, Blogger was something which was a little bit niche, and not very long after, what happened was that Facebook introduced Facebook pages, and I decided to jump in because it was easier to connect with other cosplayers through Facebook, which was after all a social media I was already in, but I didn't have to share my real name and my personal stuff. I could just have these pages in which I could just share the cosplays and not everything else. Facebook used to be great. You could share your pictures, you could share your events, you can just tag people. It was an amazing community and it was working super well. You could even connect with the actual cons and you could tag the cons, and I really liked it. However, something changed, and at some point what used to be a lot of fun and you used to be able to just see all the cosplays from your friends and from the people you followed, Facebook's algorithm changed and it became a place in which the only things that I could find were memes and people raging about stuff and just lots and lots of ads. And basically, when I used to have hundreds of likes in my pictures and hundreds of comments and people engaging, it just became a place in which even if you were to have over 5,000 followers, you would be lucky the day that you got 5 likes on one cosplay. So it became a lot of effort to maintain this community that was not being shown to anyone really. When Facebook wasn't a thing for me anymore, I decided to change to Instagram. Instagram, when I started, was a place to share photos, and of course, being a cosplayer, photos is one thing I have a lot of. So it was great. You would share your photos, people would like them, would comment, and it was a great place to find other cosplayers, and you could just follow hashtags and follow people, and you would get that information in your feed, and it was a lot of fun at the beginning. But once again, the algorithm hit, and what happened was that when this other platform called TikTok appeared, Instagram thought that it would be so great to add videos to their platform. They decided that photos were not a thing anymore and everybody had to do videos. And for me, I refused to do it for the longest time because I always enter Instagram as a place to share my photos, and I didn't want to share videos on there because it wasn't supposed to be the platform for videos. I was already late on Instagram because I was trying to save my Facebook and just holding to that, and when I jumped into Instagram, everybody had already been there for years, and basically when I was starting to grow, Really? I'm trying to have a chill day here. When I was starting to grow on Instagram, what happened was that the algorithm changed to include these videos, and videos are more engaging because, as I always say, it will take you 3 seconds to realize that a photo is terrible, but it will take you 10 seconds to realize that a video is terrible, so they will have a longer engagement. Doesn't mean that content is better, it just means that people will be stuck to it for longer. So what happened was that I not only was late, I refused to jump and do the game with the videos for a long time, and for years and years I barely grew and almost was going down in followers instead of growing. I know there's a lot of people struggling right now with Instagram, including myself, and I know that the new algorithms and changes in Meta are making a lot of people not wanting to be neither on Facebook, on Instagram, and I agree, it's not the best solution and it's basically something that I hate, but there are not so many places where you could go at the moment. And Instagram I still have decided to keep because I still want to use it, but I am just wary of all those things. Just very recently, I kind of managed to crack Instagram, and the way to crack Instagram was to do the thing that they wanted you to do, which is videos, which is what's very popular these days. It's not what I want to be doing because I think it's a lot of effort to do a video that will be seen by just a couple of hundred people and will be forgotten in about 24 hours. It is a lot of effort and it's not what I like to do the most, but the only way to grow on Instagram seems to be this. And last year I was doing it for a bit, but it's a very slow process, it takes a long time and you do not get so much back from it. So I wasn't enjoying this anymore, and most of January and December I just decided to just not do anything and just do the bare minimum to keep it alive. Another platform that was very popular before Instagram was Twitter. And Twitter is just a platform that I was never able to get into because people in there, and this is even before Twitter became X, people in Twitter seem to be like just raging all the time. I would just go to Twitter if I wanted to hear the latest critiques and the latest gossips about stuff, instead of just sharing my cosplays and being positive. Everything seemed to be like super negative, and I just didn't want to enter all this. So Twitter is one platform I decided to not really use. I did have it, but because I wasn't into all these conversations, I never grew it. And this is totally okay because there are so many social media out there. There are some that you will feel comfortable sharing with, and other ones that you will really not get, and that's totally fine. Not because people are there, it means that you have to be there. With Facebook becoming a meme place and with Instagram becoming a place for silly short videos, I decided to just move somewhere else and somewhere bigger, and that's how I end up here in YouTube. My best time ever had been on my blogger, just sharing tips and tutorials with other cosplayers, and basically YouTube was simply doing the same but in front of a camera. Don't get me wrong, being on YouTube is probably the hardest of all of the social media I have tried because it takes a long time to prepare a video. You can be in your pajamas and write a blog post about stuff in half an hour, but if you're doing a video, you need to prepare in advance, you need to be in front of the camera, you need to put on some makeup, even if I'm looking terrible today because I didn't put a big effort, but you still have to put an effort and just be in front of the camera and be feeling good enough in order to be able in front of that camera. You end up recording lots and lots of videos that take a lot of space and you have to sort, and overall just doing one single post on YouTube, it's probably take you 10 to 20 hours. At the very beginning, you are not going to get a lot of engagement, you are not going to get a lot of followers, you're not going to get a lot of likes, and it's a lot of effort for something that you are not even sure if it's ever going to work. I still don't have a big following on YouTube, but people here have been super nice, and I know that some of my videos have helped other cosplayers and will keep helping those cosplayers for a long time, because as opposed to the short videos on Instagram, for example, that I know will disappear in 24 hours and no one will remember, those that I post on YouTube, people can just rewatch and can just look through all my catalog and find them. YouTube is for sure one of my favorite platforms to be in, but I don't consider it to be so social because I don't have the connections that I've been able to have in other platforms like Facebook or Instagram. Of course, I haven't forgotten about TikTok. We know that at the beginning of the year it was banned, but then it's back and people don't know if it's coming or not. TikTok and Instagram used to be super different, but these days TikTok is just like another way of having Instagram, but it's more based on the videos. And as I said, I've always thought that making videos for TikTok is something very short-lived, so it takes a lot of effort to make a video, and if that video is going to just not be relevant in 24 hours, it just seems a little bit of a waste for me, and I never got so much into TikTok. Another thing with TikTok is that a lot of younger people are into TikTok, and I'm not that young anymore, so I don't really get many of the trends and the dances and this is funny and someone is falling off the stairs, ha ha ha, so funny. I don't get it. I didn't like the memes on Facebook. I don't like the memes on TikTok either, because that's me, and as I said, you may be more inclined to go to a platform than another because of your own personality. I know that if I had posted earlier on TikTok, or if I had posted more often, or if I had posted all my tutorials on TikTok, it would have probably grown a lot, but unfortunately because there's this competition between TikTok and Instagram, and I already had some followers on Instagram. What happened was that things that I posted on TikTok, I couldn't post on Instagram, and vice versa, because the algorithms kind of knew that I had already posted it somewhere, and whatever I posted on one place would not work on the other, and if I posted it first on this place, it wouldn't work on the other apps. So having to make the same exact content for different platforms became something very tedious for me, and I decided to just focus on the one that I like the most, with Instagram having slightly older people that would get my content a little bit better than those young people that have never seen a cosplay before and will be very mean and ask you very weird questions. With very, very few followers, I've had some of the weirdest interactions on TikTok. I had people literally asking me to borrow cosplays, not being in the same continent than me. Hello? Honestly, I couldn't deal with the nonsense, and that was only with a couple of hundred followers. I don't even want to imagine what it is to have several thousands of followers, so I decided to, again, keep TikTok but not really post into it because I wasn't that interested. At least the weather is nice. And I know for many of you, TikTok will be your main focus and your main social media, and that is totally fine. The thing about social media is that you get to choose which one adapts to your needs and which one resonates with you. So when you go looking for social media for your content, don't go to the one that everybody goes to if you think it's not the one for you, because it's never gonna work. Just work on the one that you feel comfortable with. There are many other forms of social media and communities out there. I recently just discovered Discord, and I opened my own channel. And if you want to hang out and talk about cosplay, I think Discord is great for longer conversations, and it can be very interesting if you manage to get a group of people that will be as engaged as you are. But again, you need to find those people, so it could be difficult to start a Discord of your own, and it works much better when you enter a community which is much bigger and has lots of people. For those who don't like Twitter, and I definitely hated Twitter even before it became X, and extreme discourses just were all allowed and everything goes, and you can just insult whichever and whomever you want in there, which I don't think is the way to go. Before all that, I never liked it. However, I did jump into Threads, and I do post every so often, and I think it's a bit nicer of our community. There's definitely nicer people, and because it is still small, I've been able to talk with other cosplayers, and I still get a lot of cosplay in my feed, which is something that I don't get as often with other social media. So that is another place in which I have been comfortable these days. I can't really talk about Tumblr or Snapchat or Reddit or Blue Sky because I have never tried these platforms. They are probably great, but I have always seen them as copies of other things. Snapchat in particular, it's their own thing, but I didn't feel very safe knowing that people could know where I am and taking pictures all the time of where I was. Like, I don't want to be in front of a camera most days, so it's definitely not for me. And of course, I need to talk about cosplay communities, because it's not all about Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. There used to be places where cosplayers would hang out, like cosplay.com or World Cosplay. Even DeviantArt was a place where cosplayers used to hang out and have their own groups, but they never went too far. I spent a lot of time creating my profiles and just sharing my stuff in these platforms, but they never became what other things like Instagram and Facebook are, because it's way easier to enter Instagram or Facebook and just like become known to other people than just going to these very small niched social media or platforms in which only a few people will enter, and in some cases sometimes they would even disappear and nobody will use them anymore. So all that time you put into them, it just vanishes in a puff. And trust me, in some of these platforms I even manage to be number one in the posts for a while or just be the cosplay of the day, and it's really rewarding to be able to, in a smaller community, achieve something bigger. But at the end of the day, people forget about them and you don't get a lot back from them either. And let's not forget about IRC channels and 4chan. I'm not that old, I never entered 4chan, I just know about it, I know that it still exists, and I have seen a couple of posts here or there, but I don't know. Did you ever enter these places? They were the Wild West. Particularly 4chan was known for being so polemic and just having so much hate and so many things going on. It's just incredible. I did post in a few groups and there were nice things there, but it was very difficult to navigate them and they just kind of disappeared before I really got into sharing my own content. The one place that has worked the best for me is my webpage. I know it's not a social media, but basically if anyone wants to know anything about me, they can find everything and all my cosplays in my webpage. My webpage was basically the evolution of my blogger, and I moved all my posts into there so people can still find all that information online. And I think it's a great way of sharing your content and sharing yourself so people that are actually interested in your cosplays can see what you have done during the years. And the difference is that you will own this page, so basically you are in charge of it and nobody is going to be changing the algorithm and choosing what people are going to see, because you are able to just put it the way you want and just make it look the way you want, and people will see what you want them to see. So it's a great way of having visibility online, even if people have to look for you, which is a little bit more difficult than in social media. I do know how rewarding it is to get your photo shared by a lot of people and getting thousands of likes and getting lots of comments and someone telling you how nice your cosplay is, how amazing your wig looks, and how much they like you and your instructions and your tutorials. But it is also crushing when you share your cosplays that you have made with a lot of love and people don't even click like and don't even share or comment, and sometimes it just gets really, really sad because you think nobody likes you anymore. Being on social media is a double-edged sword, and just keep in mind that there will be days in which you feel great about what you shared, and there will be days in which you will feel terrible because nobody liked your content. And to be honest, most of the time it's not even your fault. Sometimes it's the algorithm not showing it. Sometimes your content is very good, but it's not the very best, and people these days are so used to having so much information thrown at their faces that they will not even have the time to just do a simple click to like your post. For me, I love making cosplays. It's something that I would still be doing even if I had 0 followers and zero social media. I make cosplays for myself, and I think people sometimes forget that cosplay is the hobby and social media is just a way of sharing your memories. You don't need to be the one with the most likes or the most comments, and you don't need people to validate the hard work you've put into that cosplay. There will be times in which I feel like sharing my content to other people, and there will be other times in which I don't. And I don't want to feel guilty because I didn't post on Monday or on Tuesday or the whole month of January, if you ask me. For some of us, social media is important because we have business related to cosplay that if we don't advertise somehow will be very difficult to us to just get by every day, because we basically need that advertising to be able to reach the people that will buy our products. But if you are a cosplayer that just makes this for fun, which should be the majority of you, you should know that you don't owe anything to anyone. You don't need to post every day. You don't need to share the very best content ever. And you don't need 1,000 followers to validate your cosplay. Your cosplay is probably amazing, and as long as you know that it is, that's the important thing. If you decide to share it with us, if I said, I promise I will like it. But if I don't, and if people don't see it for whatever reason, just because someone else has shared a bigger one, don't be sad about it. To be honest, same as you, likes really bothered me for a long time, and these days on Instagram I directly hide all my likes. I don't care if I have lots of likes or very little likes. I will hide every single like so people don't feel like they need as many likes as me or as little likes as me to feel identified and to feel validated on their social media. In fact, I've been doing social media for so long that more often than not, I know which video or which photo will work, which cosplay may or may not have many likes, and which things that I share are going to create a lot of engagement and which ones aren't. And I will still post those that I know no one will like because I like them. And because I like them, I want to share them with other people. I don't care if they are seen or not. I don't care if they are popular or not. I just know that I made them, it made me happy, and I just want to share it with the world. It doesn't matter if someone noticed them or not. It's like when you are at home and you decide to put on makeup even if you're not going to go out because you just feel like it that day, and it doesn't matter if someone sees you or not. You just feel good because you did it. And there will be other days in which you don't feel like dressing up, and that is totally fine as well. I know a lot of people that will hide their content because they didn't get enough likes or maybe they got a bad comment. I don't do that. I simply don't care anymore. It used to drive me crazy whenever I posted something and it didn't get any likes, but these days I just share it because I like it. I like seeing it, and that is enough for me. If social media is affecting your mental health right now, just take a break. It's totally okay to take a break, even if the engagement goes down, even if the followers go down. I know it's really crippling and devastating, but trust me, after a while, you just don't care enough and you feel so much better going outside to the sun and not having to deal with it that you will definitely appreciate the time away from your social media. Doing a detox from it is really, really necessary. So if you feel like you need a break, don't be afraid of doing it because your mental health is more important than a few likes on social media. The truth is, most cosplayers, including myself, don't make any money or they do barely any money when they post on social media. So why would you have to put so much effort and time into something that is not gonna get you anything real back? And if you want to support others, do what I do. Simply like every single cosplay post that you like, comment on the ones that you like the most, follow the people that you want to be like in the future, and make sure to create a real community in which instead of just scrolling past everything, you are just giving love to everyone. If you give love to everyone else, maybe you will get that love back, and honestly, it makes me feel good just being able to share a little bit of love to other people. I don't have the answer to which one is the best social media or which social media you should be going to right now after all these changes and all these troubles. However, one thing I know is that social media will always be changing and there will be always a new social media to go to. Even if one closes, another door will open. So make sure to just carry on sharing what you like and jump in the new trend or not if you want to. Whether you are posting, blogging, or you're sharing for fun, remember to focus on whatever makes you happy. And even you run out of batteries in the middle of recording a video, remember that the sun will always be out there and, you can always go out, have a nice day off, and just get back to it tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know which social media is the one you like the most at the moment, which one are you trying, or which one you absolutely hate in the comments. And I will be seeing you in the next adventure. Bye!